Welcome back, everyone. Eric here with Ham Radio Concepts, KJ4YZI, talking about the Xiegu X108g portable HF transceiver. I just made a video on. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out in my channel. But if you clicked on this, you might be interested in using this for digital modes, such as PSK and RTTY and FT-8, and PC rig control with Ham Radio Deluxe on this radio. Yes, it is possible. So I sourced some information, I made a few cables, and I tried it out. And this is what I'm going to show you is the connections, the setup on HRD, and how to get the driver installed and all that. And that way, at least, if you're familiar with this radio and you're wanting to use it digital modes, you can do that. So on the back here, I'm going to show you the connections you're going to be worried about with the digital modes. Now you have your speaker output, your accessory port, and your USB port. Those three are going to be used for the digital modes. I'm going to talk about each one individually. Your speaker output, very simple, right? Speaker output. That's going to go from the radio out to the laptop microphone in, or line in. And very important that you use a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack or stereo jack, not a mono. The stereo jack must have the two sleeves and a tip on here. If you use the mono cable like this, you risk shorting out the wrong pins inside that jack, which will burn out the audio output side of the radio. You don't want to do that. So it's actually harder to find a mono cable than it is a stereo. Pretty much a standard stereo cable from speaker out to line in or microphone in on your laptop. That's step A. Now your USB is what controls the PTT and rig control on Ham Radio Deluxe or FL-Digi or whatever software you're using when it wants to key the radio. So this is a micro USB. I got a micro USB here somewhere. And the micro USB is a standard, right here, standard type of USB cable that you'd use for charging phones and some other applications. Micro USB is just going to plug in to here and the laptop, and it'll ask for drivers, and I'll show you that in a second. The accessory port is where the audio is flowing into the radio from the software. So what I did was, it looks identical to a Yaesu 6-pin data cable that I have on other radios here, although it's not wired the same way. So what I did was I used a little ingenuity and made my own ugly looking cable with heat shrink and electrical tape and solder. Okay, but basically I took a old 6-pin data connector that came from an old keyboard, or a PS2 mouse, or even an old, Yaesu data cable from an interface you don't have no longer. And this is basically all you need to know for wiring, is that, if I can get a good shot here, like this, all right? Looking at it with the key side down, right, because it is keyed with that little slot here, so it only goes in one way. Looking at it this way, the bottom left would be pin 6 would be your ground. Your bottom right would be pin 5, which would be your audio. Now, pin 6, pin 5, the only two ones you need. Looking at it this way, it'd be the two on the bottom. Pin 6, pin 5. And so what you need to do is wire pin 6, the ground, to I used a mono speaker, mono 3.5 cable that goes into the output of the computer. Now, in the computer part, it could use a stereo or a mono. I happen to have a mono laying around. So the shield on the mono is going to go to the ground on this connector here, which would be pin 6. Pin 5 on the other side is going to go to the tip. All right. Now, if you're using a stereo cable, you got to see which side of the sleeve you're using for left or right audio, but I used the mono. It worked fine. So that's going to be speaker out of the laptop to the accessory in for the audio. So you have, again, your speaker out going to the laptop, accessory coming from the laptop into the radio, and USB controlling the PTT. When you have those, I did notice that they are selling these cables now pre-made on eBay. Somebody's selling them. I chose to save the $22 and cut apart an old cable and make my own, and it worked fine, although I'm going to make it a little bit nicer than this. That's pretty ugly. But it works. I'm cheap, so it worked. Now the pinout is in the manual for this accessory port, so if you did want to do anything else with that, I'm not sure if you want to control a tuner, because it does have band band voltages and stuff for automatic switching of the amplifier and tuner that is built for this radio, but I don't have that. So let's go on to the computer connection and the software and how to get it running. The links to the drivers are available beneath this video in the description, but you're going basically to, the links are radioefficient.com. You're downloading X108 series driver, 64-bit or 32-bit. You can Google it and take it there, but the links are in the description, hosted by this guy here. And you want to download the one appropriate for you. Clicking on the folder with the arrow, not any other download on the page, will be an advertisement by Google. So once you download that, install it first, because once you plug the radio in, now on Windows 10 here, it automatically installed it as USB serial device COM13. On Windows 7, on my netbook, it came up Xiegu with a question mark, and I had to install a virtual COM port driver, which is what I just showed you to download. So once you download that, plug in your radio, it should find that file, that driver, and automatically install. Once you have it installed here in the device manager with no issues or conflicts, and it doesn't have the little triangle like this, you want to go ahead and have the radio on and start Ham Radio Deluxe. Now, I use Ham Radio Deluxe and Digital Master 780 for PSK and RTTY and stuff. However, if you use other programs that are connected to Ham Radio Deluxe or use Ham Radio Deluxe with that program, it should work out for you. But there is no setting for a Xiegu in here, so what you're going to do is go to ICOM 7000. IC 7000 is what this radio will link up as. The COM port is going to be the COM port that is discovered once you plugged it in and installed. And the speed I'm going to set to auto. Clicking connect, automatically comes on with the settings, and there you have it. That is the Xiegu X108, and I can change the frequency on here, and it is reflecting on Ham Radio Deluxe. All right. Now, you have that set up, and you can start up your Digital Master 780 or your other program. I use Digital Master because it links up with the Ham Radio Deluxe, and that's what I've always used. I've never used anything else, so I'm not familiar with anything else. Once you have the radio connected like this, Digital Master should start up, and you have to connect that to the HRD. So that way, when you click Call CQ or Send, it keys the radio. Going here to Tools and Program Options, first off, your PTT is going to be Ham Radio Deluxe. Shows you here, right here, Ham Radio Deluxe, and you configure the HRD connection. It should automatically pop up localhost. You hit connect. Shows you here icon 7000. Hit save. Now it's connected. So if there's right there. If I go on here and type in CQ, okay, I don't have the appropriate antenna on there at this time, but it will key the radio, and if I had the audio plugged in, it would send it out there. Okay, so I don't have it set up right now. I just wanted to show you the setup process of that. Rig control, and anything that I can do, it looks like with my my Yaesu I have now, I can control here. It looks like I can go VFOA, VFOB, it's changing on the radio. Yep. I could also go, let's see, my RF power. Can I turn up the power? Yes, I can. Now this says 100 to 0. It's actually probably 1 through 20 on this radio because the radio doesn't go to 100. The filter width. Doesn't look like it changes the filter width on the radio. You have to do that on the radio side. No big deal. Preamp. Yes, the preamp does work. Compression. Compression doesn't look like it is functioning. Mode, let's try to change the mode here to AM. Yes, it does change the mode. So a lot of the functionality through HRD is there. Noise blanker. Noise blanker does not work on there. So some things may not work, but Digital Master 780, It is working. Let me show WSJT-X. Figure I'll show you here. You know, I had this netbook actually. I thought I was going to take it out of my Go kit, so I put it on QRZ to sell it, and I was like hoping to get 20 or 30 bucks, and nobody wanted it. I'm glad I decided to keep it because it works perfect for this. I just thought I was never going to use it again. So I have HRD again on the netbook with this. And so HRD, then I go to WSJT-X, which is now connected through HRD for transmit and stuff for band changing. And one thing I forgot to mention, with this interface or the cable plugged in the back, it is very attenuated in that back, meaning I found I did not need an interface or a signal link because you know, I can adjust the volume on the computer, and you know, it's not like it's so sensitive. Going through the mic port in the front would be a bad idea because you could literally overdrive the microphone section in the front. But in the back, it seems that if I turn the computer down to a decent level, you know, down lower, that you know, it's 25-30%, and doesn't overdrive the rig. The ALC I can get down real low. So the FT-8 mode here, with, you know, besides the noise I have on 40 right now, see all the lines there? That's all noise, weird harmonics or birdies or whatever. But it is working with band control on the netbook. If I go to, let's see, if I go here and I want to change this to 15 meters, it just changed it to 15 meters. So it does work with that as well. So that, you know, now I have a way to do digital modes, even HRD with the logging built in. If I wanted to use that, automatically use this for that out in the field for digital modes. So I'm impressed with it. If you're interested in hooking this up, there is a way. There's the way I just showed you in the video, hooking it up to different software and getting it configured. I hope this helped you and saved you a lot of headache if you were thinking about using this for that. It does work. It is working very well. So thanks for watching 7.3. More videos on the way. Subscribe to the channel. Excuse the mess on the desk. And more videos on the way out in the field. From KJ4YZI.